And welcome to the Center of Love, the world's first disorganized religion. It's easier to tell you what the Center of Love isn't than to tell you what it is. I can tell you that it's not dogmatic. It's not hierarchical. I don't even know how you say that word. Hierarchical, something like that, right? It's not dogmatic, it's not hierarchical, it is decentralized. Every member here is personally accountable and responsible for his or her own salvation. If you're looking for your savior, look in the mirror, my dear friends. And in case you're wondering where to find the center, it is located at the corner of here and now. Wherever you are, the very core of what you are, there is the center of love. These formal bi-weekly gatherings are simply a reminder of that truth and an opportunity to rest in that truth together within a community seeking to operate according to a love-based paradigm. A love-based paradigm. What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, imagine much of the world as it is today and reverse it. That's what a love-based paradigm looks like. In a love-based paradigm, we listen carefully to one another. We honor one another's truths. We accept people as they are while continuing to work upon ourselves to heal, to grow, and to become brighter lights in these, some might say, dark times. And in doing so, you contribute, whether you know it or not, to the ongoing levolution of our species. So we come together with all of our differences to create this checkered patchwork quilt of community, energized by diversity, unified in love. This is the work we have set out to do for us, my friends, not merely to spread the word, but also to educate, empower, entertain, and embody. Also like to thank the folks who are here today. Also joining us online, I believe we have Jeannie joining us online, and I'm told that Jeannie will be coming in person on August 30th. So we'd love to see you in person in a few weeks' time. And also thanks to the younger faces in the crowd. We talk about diversity. There's a lot of different ways to measure diversity, right? You can measure it by certain superficial markers like ethnicity or cultural background, age. So it's nice to see, from 10 to 70 or however, whatever the ceiling of that is. It's nice to see that because we need many different generational viewpoints. So everyone here has something to contribute, not only to the common good of this community, but to humanity and the world. Your contribution might be an experience, an area of expertise, a story or a lesson or a teaching. Perhaps it's even a healing modality. Each of you carries more of these treasures than you may realize. And each one of these treasures is valued and valid, the testimony of God herself, witnessed through your eyes and spoken through your lips. Capital T truth is made up of all of our little t truths. It's the sum of every truth held together at once, the whole truth. And since none of us can possess it individually, at best we catch fleeting glimpses, distorted reflections, and scattered fragments. So our only real hope of approaching the truth is to work collectively. When we share our pieces and place them together, we begin to see more of the big picture. And when we turn those shared insights into action, we gain the power to transform ourselves, and in so doing, our world. And in fact, this is the only way we can do it, my friends, together. All right. Previously on the Love Club, during her last presentation, Mara shared the personal journey that first led her to explore human energy. Her story began with a serious back injury that left her with crushed vertebrae, a displaced rib cage and pelvis, and persistent pain that conventional treatments could not resolve. Although Mar had worked as a nurse for 12 years and believed she understood the healing process, her injury compelled her to look beyond what she already thought she knew. Her search eventually brought her to Ben Bernard Williamson, a practitioner who worked with what he called diagnostic imagery. Rather than focusing only on the site of Mar's pain, he perceived that her entire body was out of alignment and that the normal flow of energy through her spine had been disrupted. And so, working alongside a chiropractor, Ben helped restore that alignment. And during one treatment, Mar experienced a warm current moving up her spine and out through the top of her head. And that moment awakened a series of questions. What is energy? How is it connected to health? And what had Mar just experienced during treatment? Those questions opened the door to a much deeper journey of study, personal development, and spiritual growth. During her last talk, Mar introduced the idea that human beings are more than physical bodies. According to the tradition she studied, each of us exists within a larger energy field through which the aura flows around and within the body. She explained that our thoughts influence this energetic flow. Calm and balanced thoughts may support smooth movement, while anger, fear, trauma, and unresolved experiences may create disturbance or congestion in the body. Painful experiences, she suggested, can become internalized within the body, and healing may therefore involve more than just identifying what happened. It may also require understanding how the experience was interpreted at the time it happened, where it has been carried in the body, and how its energy might begin to move again. A central theme of Mar's talk was that there is no single path to wellness. Conventional medicine, counseling, energy work, movement, meditation, and other ancient and modern practices may all offer something valuable. Each of us can explore these approaches and create a personal recipe for well-being. And I love that because that's right in line with what we're doing here at the center, right? Creating your own way, your own protocol, your own path to love. And so ultimately, Mar invited us to be curious, courageous, and open to the possibility that there may be more to our being than this physical body alone. And I think that just about sums up your first talk, which brings us now to part 2. And so I would like to invite you, Mar, to come and share your truth with us. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I am. And I'm excited to be here and to have this opportunity. Wow, I really didn't know I had said all of that at my last presentation. This time I'm not going to be rambling as much, I hope. I'm going to talk about the nature of energy, the energy egg, the auric flow, and how our auric flow is affected by mind. And then I'm going to review 5 different sort of general states of mind, or the way our mind affects the pattern of our flow. So the nature of energy is becoming very confusing because the word is used in our language for everything. I don't have enough energy today. I recently got my BC hydro bill, which wasn't too bad, $35. However, I unplugged. Even on my bill, it says electricity charges based on residential tiered rate, energy charges. So I'm being charged for my energy. So we use the term very loosely to refer to a lot of things. Today, what I'm going to refer to is human energy, It is not electricity. So I don't recommend putting your finger in a socket. And it's more of a light energy. People who sense frequency of light can perceive energy fields. And there's a lot of musicians who can do that because they sense music is a frequency, right? And it has a vibration. So music has color for some people. Bach played a lot of blues. He played the blue color a lot, according to my friends who can see this or sense this energy, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So sunshine is one kind of energy, and it's a hot energy. Electricity is one, and it drives a current. And I gave the example of my hydro bill. Human energy is like light. It has color, it has radiance, and it has flow. Sentients who can sense that energy are kinesiologists, and there's other labels that we've planted on people who can sense. There's a fellow on CBC, Lawrence Grant, I think it's his name, or Grant Lawrence. I always get his name mixed up, but he can see the color in music, and he's a band leader. So that's a good example of that. And I heard him interviewed on CBC Radio 100 years ago. So energetics is also another term we use very loosely, and it's a physio term for working out. So frequency and vibration, we can get an idea of what that is when we think of a guitar string, because guitar strings are attached at the top and at the bottom, and that's where they touch. And if you press the guitar string halfway, the wave of that sound cuts in half. So the note goes up. So the wave, if you were to look at it on a thingamadoo, should I draw it?
Sure.
Okay. Do you have an eraser?
Oh, yes. Let me go grab that. Sorry about that.
All right, so there's a guitar string, and you pluck it, and it goes a certain, right? So if you plug it halfway, the original wave was like this, right? It's a low frequency. But when you put it to there, frequency is going from that point to this point. So it goes this way. You cut it again. So this is how our frequency waves work. When we talk about frequency and vibration, that's what we're referring to. And in general, the lower the notes are, the slower and bigger the wave is. So as we go up the scale, it's going faster and faster. It's a higher frequency. So, yeah. So there. Now, what's interesting is they've associated the chakras of the body. Does everybody know what a chakra is? So it's a series of vortexes that they've discovered in several healing modes that are associated with our energy fields. And some studies focus on that alone. And there's a man named Jonathan Goldberg in the States who does throat singing, because the sound and vibration of the throat when you're doing that kind of singing is very rich and very deep and very healing. And so the root chakra, which starts at the bottom of our body, so it's bottom of our torso, is basically a C note. The abdomen, which is the sacral area, is basically a D note. The What's the next one?
Alright, so
So the solar plexus is an E note. The heart is an F note. G, throat. A, third eye. And crown is the note after that, B. So when we're doing healing modes, we often will use music. So we are associating and enhancing the healing treatment by putting on the frequencies that correspond to what we're working with a person. I had a dream at one time, I still have it, about developing a concert that is healing sounds, healing words, and talk about what I'm talking about with you today. Get everybody humming these different notes until we get to F, which is heart. And then get everybody, I should get that, everybody to do that. You know, to hold that F, because then our hearts are open and we can hear that sound differently. And then I tell people to hold that resonance and listen to the rest of the concert. And then I encourage the musicians who are at the end of the concert to perform songs that are in the key of F. Do you have any idea what those songs would be? Heart songs?
hymns.
Well, no, not quite. We won't go to religions, but what the sky is always preaching to us.
They preach.
You preach.
Alright,
Love. Right? So love songs. It's a Wonderful World is in the key of F. There's a whole bunch of them, but anyway, that's just opening up the doorway a little bit for you to explore and have fun with, because yeah, that's one of the things we can do is listen to music that moves our heart, opens our heart. Other instruments include crystal bowls, didgeridoos, drums. Drums have a rhythm, and that rhythm is a frequency. Some cultures use drumming to move into a trance-like state or a spiritual state so that they can connect with the spiritual world. Clapping, tapping, Morse code is a pattern. Murmuring, birds that fly all together. Okay, there's a rhythm to their wings and to their resonance with each other. They never bump into each other. At least I've never seen that. Geese in flight always get into that V shape. How do they do that? Okay, they're connecting to the resonance of each other. Both the wings, the sound of their bodies as they're flying, the sound of the head goose that's squawking.
Yeah.
Right? So they align with that. So there's a lot of energy beings in our world. We're just one of them. Words also have frequency, even spoken words. Chanting. There was a story of the Franciscan monks in France who were doing the traditional chanting and doing the throat singing and doing the chanting. And they had a change of authoritarian leaders, and the new lead guy decided they would modernize the sound, so they changed the songs, the chants. And took a while for the monks to learn it, but they started singing the chants and they all got sick. Okay, so the original chanting that has been passed on from generation to generation, this is the value of being old, people, is that we have information and things that people don't in the modern world know about. So when they returned to the original chanting, all the monks healed. We are an energy egg. So from here to here is 7 feet, so it's a little bit further than your arms will stretch. And when I say 9 feet, you think of your feet are being on the ground, right? On the floor. So the energy goes beneath your feet. So it's going into the surface of the floor that we are sitting at and standing on, which is something to think about because the condition of floors that we are on also impacts our energy. So why is this important? It's important when we're given rules like stay 6 feet away from each other, because then we are out of our energy egg connection. That's how we first interact with each other, is through our energy. It's not through shaking our hand. It's through our interrelationship, our intersection of our energy fields. So sometimes when you meet somebody and you just don't feel comfortable, your energies may not be compatible, or there may be something about yours or something about theirs that is not linking well. And so when you become aware of that and give yourself permission to take care of that, because nobody else will, then you can make a decision. Am I going to move away? Am I going to, what am I going to do about this? Right? But if you don't know what's happening, you can't take responsibility for it. You can't make a decision. So that's my goal today, is just to share with you what it is, and you can do with it what you want. Okay, so within that energy egg is the auric flow. I guess I better draw a person in there first. That's my shaky guy.
Looks very stable.
So the auric flow, which I kind of mentioned the first talk, is driven by what? Our thoughts. Okay, so that's important. So it comes out the top of our head. And it kind of comes out like a donut, so it's all around, it's all aspects, all dimensions. And it flows around the body, usually around 1 to 3 inches. And there's a lot of industry built around this fact. You can get a picture taken of your auric flow. The thing is, it's like a photograph, so it's only that instant, because our flow is constantly changing. The colors are constantly changing, but you can say, "Oh, look, I've got an auric flow." The thing most people don't realize is it also comes up through the body, and it's what keeps our internal organs and internal body in good shape. So as it comes up through the body, the auric flow is stronger than any energy envelope that is around our organs. Our internal organs have are in a protective little energy envelope, and it's kind of like different notes. Each organ has a different frequency. So the auric flow comes in and it stimulates that energy envelope, so to the correct frequency for that organ. It's a very clever energy. And that envelope helps that organ to get the sustenance it needs from blood supply, from what we eat and what we put into our bodies goes directly to our organs. That's why it's all related. Our physical body is very related to our energy body. It's not separate. So it bathes our intestine and our spleen and our liver, our lungs, our heart. And then it keeps coming up at the shoulder level and up into the neck, except speed, because it has to drive out the top of the head and go all the way around the body. So it goes faster up through here. And oftentimes, if you're standing beside someone who is out of sorts or angry or upset, that's where you'll feel it, is up here, because the energy speeds up. So it comes up this way. I can't believe I'm shaking. This is crazy.
That's shaking.
Yeah. Oh, arms. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to share with you, because this has significance in terms of the relationship of our mind to our energy. So when we are overcome by things or feeling down about things, what do you think happens to that one energy flow? How would that affect our energy flow if we're feeling down and out? Yeah, slows it all down, right? It also explains how, when I talk about internalized mind, we pull in. So we can actually pull in energy from an experience and deposit it inside our body. And that makes it really hard for our auric flow to get through that sort of muddy period or muddy, cloudy thing. People sense energy in different ways, and that's fine. And that's the joy of it. When I work with other practitioners who are doing energy work, we like to talk because we like to hear what other people are sensing. And it validates also what we are also sensing. Because this is all a new field. We're not used to sensing each other's energy. So, affected by mind. So what's love got to do with it? What's mind got to do with it? Mind affects the quality, quantity, and rate of the auric flow. The mind affects wellness of the internal organs and plays a major role in creating conditions for health or illness. Any questions so far? No? That's scary. Okay.
You're answering them all.
Well, I'm answering them with my questions. Okay, so the 5 simplified examples of auric flow. Okay, well, we kind of got the first one, which is blue, right? So this is the state of mind that we strive to be in and to maintain. However, we flit in and out of it because we are always in a different state. But looking at the loving state of mind, it's important not to be too harsh on ourselves, since all we can further develop is our personally and spiritually, our development. A person with a loving state of mind has a zest for life, in tune with their environment, likes to get up in the morning and go to work, enjoys recreation, has respect for themselves and others, doesn't question the natural order of things. So if it's raining, oh, good, the plants will get some water. That'll freshen us all up. Get on my raincoat and away I go, right? Sees rain as a life giver rather than an inconvenience. The aura feels inviting and warm and has a gentle, wavy pattern. The body bathed in this energy is as healthy as it can be with its genetic and history of health. And it's ego driven. In the energy that I learned about as a human energist, ego is a good thing, because if we didn't have it, we would not seek spiritual development. The problem is we have, what we don't have developed in our natural ego, we cover up with a ego defense. And that ego defense can get very defensive. I had a really strong ego defense when I first learned about human energy. And I argued about everything. I'll get into that. Anyway, this is pure driven. So it's driven by a pure ego. The angry state of mind. The angry state of mind is hot and prickly. And remember I talked about the energy going faster at the top? So it spikes usually. Can spike when a person is really angry. They have a chip on their shoulder. They feel that the world is trying to rip them off. And anyone that makes more money than they do is a thief. They don't like politicians. They argue with anything about the system, mistrusting politicians. Well, we all do that. Law enforcers, bosses, any person in an authority figure. Often suppressed as a child, not allowed to express themselves, often pushed aside or abused by family members who are controlling, and gets back by becoming a bully or tyrant. Or is hot, agitated, and even prickly, and it's condensed and concentrated. So the flow, auric flow usually takes 7 to 9 seconds to go from the top of the head to the feet. And with an angry state, it's more concentrated, tends to be tight to the body, but it's really loud. If I can say that word, a loud energy. So it looks like this. So what do you think happens when that energy comes into the body? If a person were able to maintain an angry state for a long period of time, it would have to happen over time. Sorry? Yeah, it's really toxic for the body. So the energy is erratic in terms of how it spikes, but also in the speed of it. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. When that comes up through the body, it still takes 7 to 9 seconds to go from the head to the toe, but it's the organs tend to have numerous ailments or complaints. The person also blames everybody else for their ailments, which is an earmark for not taking responsibility for self. We like to blame others, and it's easier, right? My doctor made me do that, right? From a psychological point of view, is a menace to others, affecting everybody negatively. The auric field not only influences an immediate environment, but may, through ripple effect, have a more widespread influence. If not expressed verbally, it projects to others telepathically. So they don't even have to say anything. If you're standing in a party and you get beside somebody who's had a few too many drinks and is on a rage, you know, they don't even have to say anything. You can tell, you can just feel it. Has anybody had that experience? Okay. Sure. I was talking about my head. Okay. The third kind is a caretaking mind. Caretaking mind paradoxically produces an aura quality of emptiness or need. The constant desire to help others often stems from a need for validation. The caretaker shows compassion for the world and everything in it, cries for the rabbit eaten by the fox. So person is unable to accept the natural order of things, unwilling to accept the rain, involved in the lives of everybody around, feels she has to take care of them all. The neighbor whose husband lost his job, the neighbor whose furnace broke down, unmarried 35-year-old son, and grown-up children whom she feels could not manage without her. Do you hear what happens here? So they tend to create a scenario so that people depend on them. So it gives them a sense of purpose. We all have a bit of these things, not too extreme, but we all have a little bit of it, okay? If extreme can be manipulative, contriving to keep people around, fostering their dependence so she feels important and valued. The aura is cool and close to the body, so it's kind of flat, it's running low. Generally, the person is self-centered, so the energy is drawn towards them. And that affects the people around them. So if you're around a person who is in a caretaking mode, your energy is drawn towards them. Body has low energy and difficulty with self-healing. And the need again affects the internal organs. Emotional need can trigger physical responses like hunger. So that's interesting, isn't it? These are just information. I'm not accusing anybody of being any of these. And we all are a little bit, just a little smidge. And from time to time, we flip in and out. So it's all okay. The fourth one is dormant state of mind. This is the couch potato. And the energy flow, instead of being 7 to 9 seconds, is usually around 15 to 20 seconds to go from the top of the head to the feet. Person is very passive, likes other people to entertain them. No interest if it requires effort. I've been there. Opinionated, using information derived from other people's labor. Slow auric flow, passive organ energy, prone to minor illnesses. The last and most famous of them, and the one that I was in a lot before I met Ben and learned about human energy, and I had no idea, is called the internalizing state of mind. It's the most unhealthy one. Auric flow is usually around 25 seconds, very slow, and sometimes it can stop at the feet. So your feet don't feel like they feel numb and they feel like you're walking on wood, that kind of expression. The mind pushes energy inwards. There's a large amount of internalized energy lodged in the body, and this blocks the auric flow. So when it comes into the body, it's not very strong to begin with, but it just can't move around too well to all the different organs and energy envelopes. The person is usually not that attractive, is self-occupied, acts as though nobody else is there. Others may feel drained when in contact, troubled by feelings of regret, guilt, self-doubt, inadequacy, resentment, or anger. I had all of the above. Worried about what others might think of them and very defensive. That's me. Constantly arguing in the head in an attempt to justify behavior or opinions. And this, I think, was a direct point at me when Ben wrote this book. Maybe still arguing with self for getting a speeding ticket a few weeks ago. I went to Ben with a speeding ticket that I was arguing in my head about. And in their mind is still offering the policeman rationalization for the behavior. So that the tape plays over and over. You can't get it out of your head. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that happens with an internalized mind. Maybe still arguing with a dead mother, still upset she didn't say this instead of that. Is she here? No, we're carrying it in our being, right? So this awareness helps you look at some of the things in your life, what you're hanging on to, how you're addressing things that do and don't happen. And that's all I'm hoping to. It sounds really awful. Is that all right? Okay, combine these factors with a preoccupation with the way others see them, and you can't tolerate the possibility that you've made a mistake. That was me. Worries about everything they do. Replay scenarios from the past and keeping them alive emotionally. I think one of the things in our life is we can't control what happens to us, but we can look at how we're responding to things. And that's where our power is. That's where we can change. We can also process through psychology, through seeing a psychologist or psychiatrist, and also on our own through self-help books and talking with other people. We can learn how to take the emotional charge out of our experience. And when we can do that, can't remove the experience or the memory of it, but it's like putting it on a shelf somewhere. We still acknowledge it, but it's not emotionally charged. It doesn't make us relive it every time we think of that experience. We can reach that point. I know, because I did. So now that I've overwhelmed you with this, with this information that we are energy beings, and that our thoughts and how we think of others and ourselves affects very much our auric flow. What are some things we can do to keep a healthy auric flow, or or healthy beingness? Because it's all connected. Anybody ideas? We have the standard physical ones, right? We eat good food, nutritious food that our body responds to well. What else do we do? We exercise, sorry? Yeah, exercise.
Sunshine?
We get out in the sunshine, get our vitamin D.
And rest.
We meditate, which is part of taking care of our energy field. Get good sleeps and good rest. So what else can we do with our energy?
Healthy mental hygiene,
So what is mental hygiene?
being aware of our thoughts.
Okay, so becoming aware of our thoughts and making a decision about whether we're going to keep that thought or not is a process. It's not something you can do and that's it. But very good point.
And CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy,
Mhm.
educating ourselves. That's all.
Yeah, very good, because that affects our mind, right? How we're thinking. Anything else about our energy field?
But one of the things I learned very young already is that where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yes,
So choose what you put attention. Like after the war in Finland, it was live free or die.
yes,
That this as a child in that country, it was my life. What I always try to choose what I believe in.
yes, and be attentive to what you're doing with your focus.
Yeah.
You know, when we are listening to the news and listening to wars and listening to all the traumas that are happening in our immediate environment and worldwide, what are we doing? What are we doing with our energy when we do that?
Giving it away.
We're giving it away. You ever watch the news and then have to go and lie down? So you can make a choice. You know, I will listen to the headlines only. I will, and you can use it when you're scrolling. We all scroll. It's the hook, right? I don't for a while, and then all of a sudden I do it for hours. And so when you're scrolling, check in with the body. The body always knows the truth. So the body knows what you're feeling. And I would suggest heart center. So take a deep breath, let it out, go to your heart and go, does that headline make me feel fear or does it make me feel love? Okay, that right there will eliminate 3/4 of the headlines that you're reading. The headlines are designed hooky to get you to read that and then read the next one and then read the next one because they're all sort of about the same thing, but maybe not. But they create the same trauma in your energy field. So there are good ways to use the internet, and Dre can tell you about that. And if you use it for the purpose of finding out information and reinforcing where you want to focus on, what you want to focus on, that is key. So that's another one. What about trees? What the heck has a tree got to do? All living things have an energy flow. Trees, it's really interesting. Trees nurture us in many ways, provide our shelter, give us, all these things. But trees themselves have an energy flow. Yeah, and there's a thing called the xylem and the phloem in a tree. The xylem draws nutrients out of the soil up the roots and up the inside of the tree. And the phloem comes down the outside of the tree in the bark, back down to the earth. So it has a flow. It's a very slow workflow. But knowing that now, what can you do? Hug a tree, you don't even have to hug them. Just stand by one and just breathe. Change your focus, relax your body, root yourself like the tree. We root ourselves into the earth because our energy field is going down below the surface that we're standing on. So that's why rooting, we call it rooting or grounding ourselves, is so important. And there's a film on it I saw years ago about how to do that and why that is important. So we can ground ourselves like a tree. Think of a tree when we are meditating or when we are relaxing our body and just getting into our breathing. Trees actually breathe. If you're ever in a forest for a long period of time, they release, and it's a hiss of that oxygen. It's really cool. So trees. What else has energy that might be helpful for us in keeping our energy flow right? Water, right? Water. Okay, we are 99% water.
Dog or a cat.
A dog or a cat. It's therapy, right? Because we're stroking the animal. As we're stroking the animal, we are interchanging our energy with that animal. Except one cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry? What did you say? Tracy? What did you say?
All animals.
All animals.
You say, except maybe an alligator, yeah, porcupine.
Yeah,
Different energy, right? But.
elephants. Elephants are beautiful energy. Horses are beautiful energy. Horses can sense you a mile away. Elephants, we're discovering, have their own network of communication. And there's a story about a trainer who loved elephants and he passed. And the elephants came from all over the place. They didn't even know these elephants existed. And they gathered at his house and grieved. They lay their trunks down and they stood there. And then they left. So they have an internet of their own. And there's a documentary I saw about rehabbing orphaned elephants. So the mother has been killed. And they take these elephants and they have to surround them with their energy. The workers have to hold energy, and the animal will just go crazy because they know that energy killed their mother. But they persist and they nurture them and they hold them and they get them rehabbed. And after, I think it takes 5 years to do it, get them back, or at least a year. And then they have the grand day where they take them to release them. And they take them to the releasing spot, and all of a sudden there's a herd of elephants. They've come from all over. They know that these other elephants are going to be released. So we know very little about energy, but we're learning. And human energy is one of the most precious things because that's what we are. And the more we learn about it and the more we take care of it, the healthier and better we will all be with ourselves and with each other.